What's up? This is EasyOSX, and today I'm showing you how to connect your Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons and Pro controllers to your iPhone and iPad. I'm going to show you how to connect the controllers and show you how to adjust your controller's button settings to your liking. Timestamps are in the description. Before you get started, you'll need to be running iOS or iPadOS 16 or later, since that's when Apple introduced the feature. You can check this by going to the Settings app, hit General, and then hit About at the top. Near the top will be the name and software version of your device. So long as it says 16.0 or higher, then you're good. If not, go back one level and hit Software Update and update to the latest version. Next, you're going to need to turn on Bluetooth. You can get to this by going to the Settings app and clicking on the Bluetooth button near the top of the screen. In the new window, make sure the Bluetooth toggle is set to On. Now we can connect the controller. On the Pro controller, find the little round sync button on the top near the charging port. Press and hold this for a few seconds until you see the lights on the bottom bouncing back and forth. You should see the name Pro controller pop up under the Other Devices section. Tap it, and after a few seconds, you'll be connected. If you're hoping to use this via USB-C, then you're out of luck. Sadly, I haven't been able to get that working. Now onto the Joy-Cons. Pull out the Joy-Con and look on the side that is normally connected to the Switch, where the shoulder buttons are. You should see the little round sync button in there. Press and hold it until the lights next to it start flashing. On screen, you should see Joy-Con R or Joy-Con L, depending on which controller you're connecting to at the moment. If you have two Joy-Cons actively connected to your iPhone or iPad at the same time, then they'll work as two independent controllers used in the sideways manner like you would on the Switch. However, you can use a left and right Joy-Con as a single set by pressing and holding the screen capture button and the home button on both controllers at the same time for about 3 seconds. You won't see anything appear on screen or any indication from the controllers, but now you can hold them vertically and use them as a unified controller. You can rename the controller by going back to the Bluetooth settings, tapping the little eye icon next to the controller's name, then tapping Name, where you can type in a new name for the controller in case you use multiple controllers and want to be clear about which one you're using. By default, there's not much you can do outside the game. If you press the controller's home button, it will take you to the Game Center app and back out of it. On the home screen of your device, the analog sticks and direction pad will let you move between the different widgets, folders, and icons, and you can hit the A button to open folders and launch apps. Besides those, the only thing that really works is the B button, which will let you leave folders, and the Share button. The Share button works a little differently on iDevices than it does on its native console. Pressing and holding the button will start screen recording so you can share clips with your friends. But to take a screenshot, you'll have to double press the button rather than single press like you do on the Switch. New with iPadOS 16 is a keybinding function. Once you've connected the controller, you'll now be able to make some changes, including profiles for different controllers and users, by opening the Settings app, then going to General, and scroll down to find the new Game Controller section. When your controller is connected, you'll see them listed at the top of the Game Controller window and can hit the Identify button to make them vibrate. Clicking on the controller will let you reset the controller's settings, check what profile and its controls are set to, and also change the profile if you want. Going back to the first screen, profiles can be created for different schemes and bound to particular controllers and games. So if I wanted to have a weaker vibration in my controller, or reverse the A and B buttons on the controller, then I can do that from here. Then go to my controller and select that profile. You can also set profiles per game, but not all games have support for individual profiles, in which case they will only use whatever profile the controller is set to. So now you want to play some games with your controller. How do you do that? If you're using something like Apple Arcade, then you probably don't need to worry, because most games already have that support. But if you're just using games from the App Store, that's tougher than it should be. Unlike the Apple TV or other game stores, the App Store doesn't make it clear what apps support controllers. There is a tag Apple provides for games to use, located up there with the genre of the game, age rating, etc. But some games that support controllers don't have this tab, some developers will spell it out in the description, while others may only list it in their version history when they updated the game to add support. It's kind of frustrating. Probably the easiest way to check is to use a website like iDevice. Since they make controller attachments to work with your iDevices, they also have a good list of what games support controllers. I'll have a link to their page in the description. They have lists for Apple and Android games. But once you do find your games and you have the controller connected, you're all set to start playing. Thank you all so much for watching. If this video helped you out, then give it a like. It'll really help the channel out. Likewise, if you want more Mac, iOS, and other Apple tips, tricks, and advice, you can subscribe to the channel. You can also check out the website, EasyOSX.net, as well as our social media pages. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.